House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 7, is called The Red Sowing, because the sowing of the seeds is when these Targaryen bastards, or dragon seeds, try to claim dragons. It's called the Red Sowing because most of the dragon seeds are killed. But Hugh claims the dragon Vermithor, and Ulf gets the dragon Silverwing. Meanwhile, Daemon and Oscar rally the Riverlands, and Alicent goes camping. So what happens and what does it mean? This video has no spoilers for future episodes. In King's Landing, Alicent wonders what is the point of her life. For years she served as queen, and it sucked, and now it seems like that was all for nothing, because Alicent has no power since her son Aemond fired her. Her allies Larys and Criston have abandoned her, and her son Aegon shouldn't be king anyway, because her dead husband Viserys wanted Rhaenyra to rule. Everything has gone bad, so what should Alicent do? For years, Alicent felt trapped in the Red Keep by duty and by politics. It feels dirty here, corrupted by the crimes and lies of her family. She sees a rat inside, symbolizing that corruption. And there's a theory that Larys might magically see through the eyes of rats to spy. Alicent decides to escape the corruption, escape the politics, and go outside, touch grass, figure out who she is now. So she goes out with the Kingsguard Rickard Thorne. He's probably related to Alliser Thorne from Game of Thrones. Alicent and Rickard go camping in the Kingswood, like when young Rhaenyra was in the Kingswood with Criston. Alicent swims and floats in water. Previously, we've seen her in baths. Because Alicent wants to feel clean, to wash away her sins and her guilt. The showrunner says that Alicent considers suicide, but she sees a bird above, and Alicent finds a sense of purpose. The Kingsguard Leon was killed in the riot last episode, but his friends Martin and Ned survived. Prince Aemond blames Martin and Ned for the riot, and sends them to join the Night's Watch as punishment. Martin and Ned didn't cause the riot, but this is a good excuse to get rid of them. Because Martin and Ned aren't very good at their job, and by removing them from the Kingsguard, Aemond can replace them with better knights. And Martin and Ned are Aegon's friends, so now Aemond can put his own people on the Kingsguard, men loyal to him. Aemond is taking control of the Kingsguard, of the Council, removing opposition so that he has the power, not King Aegon. Jasper Wilde, called Ironrod, is the Master of Laws on the Green Council. He speaks with Larys Strong, the Master of Whisperers, because Jasper heard that the dragon Seasmoke now has a rider. This is important information for the war, but Jasper and Larys don't tell Prince Aemond. They're worried that the rumour might not be true, and they're afraid to bring their boss bad news. They saw how angry Aemond got from Jason's letter last episode, and Aemond rejected Larys and called him a toad, so Larys is turning against Aemond and wants King Aegon back in power instead. Aegon is easier to manipulate than Aemond is, and it seems like Jasper feels the same way. Larys and Jasper are like Varys and Littlefinger in Game of Thrones, scheming counselors using the royals for their own power. King Aegon is all messed up, because his brother Aemond burned him with his dragon. Aegon's leg was broken. In the books, Aegon's hip and ribs were broken too. But Orwyle and Larys push Aegon to walk again, because if Aegon doesn't get stronger and start ruling for himself, Aemond could take all Aegon's power, and Rhaenyra might attack with her dragons. Aegon is vulnerable, and Larys knows the pain of physical disability, since Larys has a clubfoot. Larys is a manipulative murderer, but he seems to really sympathize with Aegon. Grand Maester Orwyle is a healer, and he wants to let Aegon rest, but Larys tells him to push Aegon harder, while Aemond told Orwyle to keep Aegon drugged and helpless. So Orwyle has conflicting orders. Who should he obey? How can Orwyle do his job and be neutral in this politicized world? In the Riverlands, Daemon spent 4 episodes tripping balls and doing war crimes, but he explored his guilt for his treatment of his wife Rhaenyra, and his ex-wife Laena, and his brother Viserys, and now he faces consequences for his crimes in the Riverlands. Dayne told Willem Blackwood to commit atrocities against House Bracken, which has angered the Riverlords. Dayne was also rude to Oscar Tully, and now Oscar is the Lord Paramount of the Riverlands. He rules over the Riverlords. So Dayne needs to convince Oscar and the Riverlords to support him and Rhaenyra in the war. Oscar is in a difficult position. The Tullys have often struggled to control the Riverlands. Lord Grover was weak and ignored for years, and Oscar is very young. So to take authority, Oscar needs to show strength, and he needs to do justice. So Dayne and Oscar face the Riverlords. We see Willem Blackwood, who has Lord Amos Bracken captive. There are leaders from House Piper, House Mallister, House Mouton, House Darry, who are all Riverlords sworn to the Tullys. The Lords complain about Dayne and Willem's atrocities, and Oscar publicly agrees that Dayne is a dick and his crimes were wrong. This young kid bravely faces the deadly Dragon Lord Dayne. Previously, Dayne has reacted to criticism with violence or running away, but this time Dayne shows some humility, and he admits that he did the wrong thing. Oscar tells Dayne to execute Willem Blackwood as justice for the atrocities, and Dayne obeys. After all of Dayne's visions and self-examination, he's now behaving more diplomatically than usual. He hopes this will convince the Riverlords to rally an army behind him. House Blackwood are one of the only families in the south who worship the old gods. Most of the Riverlands worship the Faith of the Seven. So it's interesting that Willem Blackwood is killed in front of a weirwood, which is sacred to the old gods. Worshippers of the old gods sometimes make blood sacrifices to the trees, so Willem's death might feed the trees his blood. This particular tree has the face of George R.R. Martin, the author of the Game of Thrones books. Dayne sees Del the goat, who might be magically connected to the witch Alice and to the magic of the old gods, and Dayne has a vision of his dead brother King Viserys. Daemon's deepest hurt is that Viserys rejected Dayne and made Rhaenyra heir to the throne instead of him. Dayne sees the throne and the crown as a symbol of his brother's love, but now he sees how the throne destroyed Viserys, physically and emotionally. In Season 1, we saw the stress and the burden of power crushing Viserys. It tore his family apart, plagued him with doubts and fears and false hopes. The throne literally cut Viserys, leading to the leprosy disease that killed him. So this ghost of Viserys asks if Dayne really wants the throne. Wouldn't it just destroy Dayne too? Maybe Dayne will finally let go of the throne, let go of Viserys' ghost, and look to the future. Rhaena Targaryen is the daughter of Daemon and Laena. Rhaena's in the Vale, ruled by Lady Jane Arryn. Rhaenyra's son Joffrey and his young dragon Tyraxes are staying at the Vale, but Rhaenyra's youngest sons, Aegon and Viserys, are going across the sea to Pentos to get away from the war. Rhaena is meant to go with them, but instead Rhaena goes searching for a dragon, because we know that there's a wild dragon stealing sheep in the Vale, probably the dragon sheep stealer, which is a change from the books. The actor Phoebe Campbell says Rhaena doesn't just want a dragon, she wants purpose, to find her destiny. Adam is the bastard son of Lord Corlys Velaryon. Last episode, Adam claimed the dragon Seasmoke, or Seasmoke claimed him. So Rhaenyra faces this new dragon rider. It's tense, like a western cowboy showdown. Rhaenyra doesn't know if Adam is a friend or an enemy, but Adam says that he will serve Queen Rhaenyra. Adam worked for the Velaryons, who are allies with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra asks who Adam's parents are, because it's believed that only Targaryens and people with Targaryen blood can ride dragons. And as far as we know, Adam doesn't have Targaryen blood. The Velaryons aren't dragon riders. In the books, the Velaryons have intermarried with Targaryens in the past, so it's possible that Adam might have some Targaryen blood through Corlys, or maybe Adam's mother had Targaryen blood. Maybe she's a Targaryen bastard, a dragon seed. Or maybe you don't need Targaryen blood at all to ride a dragon. Maybe Seasmoke just likes Adam. Adam is the half-brother of Laenor, Seasmoke's previous rider. How does Rhaenyra feel facing her ex-husband's dragon? Is Laenor still alive? Corlys is Rhaenyra's trusted ally, so if Adam told Rhaenyra that he's Corlys's son, she might trust him more. But Adam doesn't tell her. Maybe Adam wants to prove himself as his own man, without getting favors because of his father. Adam says that the gods made him a dragon rider. Rhaenyra feels like this is destiny. Rhaenyra and Adam return to Dragonstone, but Rhaenyra doesn't talk to her council, because her council has been annoying. Instead, she talks to Mysaria, and Rhaenyra says she wants more dragon riders. She'll look for more noble families who have Targaryen blood, like House Darklan. But Mysaria says instead of highborn noble people, they should look among the bastards and the small folk. Because the Targaryens have been on Dragonstone for hundreds of years, and many Targaryens have had bastard children with the common people. There are lots of blonde peasants around who might be half Targaryen, might be dragon seeds, like Hugh and Ulf. Mysaria says they should recruit them as dragon riders. Rhaenyra is reluctant, because dragons are the most powerful weapons in this world. Should she give this power to random peasants? Lords from noble houses have centuries of oaths and tradition keeping them loyal, but a peasant on a dragon could do any crazy thing. What if they want power and rights for themselves? This realm is built on the idea that trueborn noble lords are better than bastards and peasants. So if common folk get dragons, that could change the whole balance of power. So Lord Bartimus Celtigar is furious. But Mysaria wants the people to have power. She wants to protect the small folk from exploitation, because Mysaria is a common person who has experienced slavery and abuse. And Rhaenyra herself is already revolutionary, because she's trying to be the first female ruler of Westeros. She previously said that she would make a new order for this world. Half the noble lords in the realm are already rebelling against her, including her highborn, trueborn half-brothers, Aegon and Aemond. Why not side with the small folk and the bastards? So Rhaenyra agrees to recruit dragon seeds as dragon riders, to raise an army of bastards. Adam is a humble shipwright, so he feels strange in a fancy, luxurious castle, seeing how rich people live. Rich people like his father, Corlys. Corlys and Adam are awkward. Corlys feels ashamed that he cheated on his wife Rhaenys, that he hasn't been a father to Adam and Alan. But Corlys is proud that his son claimed a dragon. Corlys respects self-made men, like when Corlys made himself rich with his sea voyages. So Corlys says well done, which might be the most affection Adam has ever gotten from his father. Will Corlys ever acknowledge Adam as his son? Corlys sees his other bastard son, Alan. Alan saved Corlys's life on the Stepstones, and Alan is now Corlys's first mate on his ship. So Corlys gets Alan to smuggle a message to Alinda in King's Landing, arranging to transport dragon seeds from King's Landing to Dragonstone. Corlys tells Alan that his brother Adam claimed a dragon, and Corlys suggests that Adam and Alan's mother might have had Targaryen blood. In the books, Adam and Alan's mother is Merilda of Hull. She was nicknamed Mouse because she was small and quick, and Mouse became a successful trader and captain with 7 ships of her own. In the books, Adam and Alan are just 15 and 14 years old, and Merilda claims that Adam and Alan's father was Laenor Velaryon, but everyone knows that Laenor was gay and that Corlys is probably the real father. Corlys says that since Adam has a dragon, maybe Alan can also claim a dragon. In the books, Alan does try to claim a dragon, but he fails and gets nasty burns. But in Hot D, Alan says that he's just a sailor of salt and sea, and that he doesn't want a dragon. Previously, Baelor said that Driftmark should pass to salt and sea, so maybe Corlys will make Alan his heir, the future leader of House Velaryon. Jacaerys Velaryon, aka Jace, is Rhaenyra's son and heir. Jace is angry that Rhaenyra wants to give dragons to common-born bastards. Because Jace is in a difficult position. Jace has to pretend that he's the trueborn son of Laenor Velaryon with Rhaenyra, but really Jace is the bastard son of Harwin Strong with Rhaenyra. In this world, bastards are seen as untrustworthy. Bastards can't inherit. And since Jace has dark hair, unlike Laenor and Rhaenyra, it's obvious that Jace is a bastard. For years, Alicent's family said that Jace is not legitimate. The one advantage Jace has, the symbol that shows he is Rhaenyra's true heir, is that Jace has a dragon. That makes him look like a real Targaryen. But if other Targaryen bastards get dragons, Jace is no longer special, especially if those bastards have silver blonde hair, like Hugh. They might look more Targaryen than Jace does. And appearances matter. In the books, the Blackfyre rebellions happen because people want a blonde Targaryen bastard to be king instead of a dark-haired nerd. We've got a video about the Blackfyre rebellions. So, Rhaenyra giving dragons to bastards could create rivals to Jace, which might make it harder for Jace to be king after Rhaenyra. And it's also emotionally painful. Young Jace didn't know his true father, didn't know his identity. He was caught between Targaryen, Velaryon, and Strong. And now he has to act like he's better than mongrel bastards, when Jace knows that he's a mongrel bastard too. The Targaryens believe that their Valyrian blood makes them superior to other people. But Jace is not purely Valyrian. He also has First Men blood from the Strongs. Targaryen incest is based on a racist ideology. Maybe incest is bad. But this entire mess happened because Rhaenyra had sex with Harwin. If Rhaenyra had kids with a blonde man instead, Jace could look much more legitimate. Rhaenyra's mistakes hurt her son emotionally and politically, and now she faces that pain, but she decides to give dragons to bastards anyway. She puts the war ahead of her son's wishes. In this episode, Daemon sacrifices Willem, Rhaenyra sacrifices dragon seeds, and Rhaenyra sacrifices her son's happiness for her destiny. In King's Landing, Rhaenyra's maid Alinda spreads the word that Rhaenyra wants Targaryen bastards to claim dragons. It's surprising that the spy master Larys doesn't notice or stop this. Does Larys allow this to happen, or is he just an incompetent spy master? Ulf says that he won't claim a dragon. Maybe he's afraid. Maybe he's not sure if he really is a Targaryen bastard. But Ulf's friends tell him to go anyway, so this grown-ass man gets peer-pressured into risking his life for a nuclear dinosaur. Hugh the blacksmith and his wife Cat had a sick daughter, but now she's died. Cat wants to go to her family in Tumbleton, but Hugh wants to go and claim a dragon. Because Hugh reveals that he is a Targaryen bastard. He's a grandson of old King Jaehaerys, and a cousin of Viserys and Daemon, and a cousin of Ulf, if Ulf is the son of Prince Baelon. Hugh says that his mother worked in a brothel, so Hugh's mother is probably Princess Sarah Targaryen, daughter of King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne. Last season, Lionel said that Jaehaerys had trouble with his daughters, and Sarah was one of the most difficult. Sarah was rebellious, sometimes cruel and manipulative. As a girl, she pulled pranks like filling her sister's chamber pot with bees and taunting a simple-minded jester. At age 16, Sarah had scandalous sex with 3 men, including a Beesbury nicknamed Stinger. Then Sarah tried to take a dragon. So King Jaehaerys sent Sarah to the Faith to be a nun, but Sarah escaped. She worked in brothels in the East and became a notorious and wealthy woman. Sarah's mother, Alysanne, wanted to reunite with Sarah, but Jaehaerys refused. It was a tragic breakdown of their family. So Hugh's father might have been one of Sarah's clients at a brothel. Hugh says he's ashamed of his mother, but after his daughter's death, Hugh wants to do something and wants to provide for his wife. If he can claim a dragon, maybe he'll get status and money for Cat. Cat doesn't want Hugh to go, but Hugh follows his destiny. Dragon Keepers look after the dragons on Dragonstone. They're like a religious cult who see the dragons as gods. And the Dragon Keepers are angry that Rhaenyra is giving dragons to bastard smallfolk. They say that the dragons rejected Steffon Darklan because Steffon was an Andal. The Andals are one of the ethnic groups in Westeros. So the Dragon Keepers argue that only trueborn Valyrian dragon lords should get dragons. Valyria was the ancient empire of the Dragon Lords, which mysteriously exploded in the Doom. They refuse to help bastard dragon seeds claim dragons. Dragon Keepers have important knowledge. They help to train new dragon riders, so it could be a problem for Rhaenyra if she loses their support. Rhaenyra says that with the blessings of the gods, the dragon seeds will claim dragons and bring peace to the realm. Rhaenyra talks like a religious leader, with her own faith separate from the Dragon Keepers. Remember, Viserys said that Aegon the Conqueror had a dream that the Targaryens will save the world, and Rhaenyra saw that white heart, a symbol of divine right. Maybe Rhaenyra believes that she's the chosen one, the Messiah, the prince that was promised. Rhaenyra has two big unclaimed dragons, Vermithor and Silverwing, who were once ridden by King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne. Vermithor is the second biggest dragon in the world after Vhagar, and Vermithor is fierce, nicknamed the Bronze Fury. Silverwing is also one of the biggest, oldest dragons alive, though she is said to be more docile and chill in the books. In the books, the dwarf jester Mushroom tries to claim Silverwing, and Silverwing sets fire to his pantaloons. Rhaenyra connects with Vermithor. Maybe he senses her Targaryen blood, her courage and ambition. Then the dragon seeds face the dragon. In the books, the sowing of the seeds seems to happen over days or weeks. Dragon seeds try to claim the wild dragons, Cannibal, Grey Ghost, and Sheepstealer, as well as Vermithor and Silverwing. But in Hot D, the sowing happens all at once, and it's a bloodbath. Vermithor kills most of the dragon seeds. Maybe he rejects them because they don't have enough Targaryen blood, maybe they're not brave enough, or maybe Vermithor is just hungry. Vermithor has a delightful time stomping around and eating people. As dozens of innocent people die, Rhaenyra watches and does nothing. She is disturbed by the deaths, but she sees this as a necessary sacrifice to win the war. The actor Emma Darcy says Rhaenyra is like a religious fanatic staging a massacre out of belief in her destiny. Many Targaryens have done terrible things in the name of dreams and prophecy. Most of the dragon seeds try to escape Vermithor, but Hugh distracts the dragon to save a woman. He saves her, but he couldn't save his daughter. Hugh roars at Vermithor and says he's ready. Maybe Hugh wants to die after his daughter's death, but Vermithor respects Hugh's fire and his courage, so the dragon of King Jaehaerys accepts this humble blacksmith as his rider. It's poetic that after King Jaehaerys rejected Sarah, Jaehaerys' dragon accepts Sarah's son, symbolically healing the rift in their family. While Hugh is brave, Ulf runs away, and he accidentally bumps into the dragon Silverwing. Ulf is not impressive, but Silverwing accepts him as her new rider. Maybe Silverwing likes Ulf because Ulf is the grandson of her old rider Alysanne. Maybe she likes how Ulf smells, because Vermithor hit Ulf, and Ulf stepped in some dragon eggs. Maybe he smells like dragon. Or maybe Silverwing is happy to accept whoever. The drunken bastard claims the Queen's dragon. Silverwing is still wearing a saddle, even though she hasn't been ridden in like 30 years. Because showrunner Ryan Condal says that dragon saddles are never taken off. They're put on the dragon when it's young, and it becomes almost part of the dragon's body. In King's Landing, Aemond meets with his council. In the Reach, Lord Ormond Hightower is fighting House Beesbury and their allies. But Aemond's brother, Daeron Targaryen, is now riding his dragon Tessarion, so that should help the Greens win the Reach. The Lannisters in the Westerlands and the Baratheons in the Stormlands are also allied with Aegon and the Greens, while the Starks in the north and the Arryns in the Vale side with Rhaenyra and the Blacks. Daemon is rallying the Riverlands, and the Iron Islands and Dorne haven't taken a side. Ulf and Silverwing fly from Dragonstone to King's Landing. Dragonstone and King's Landing are pretty close to each other. Author George Martin is vague about distances and travel times, but in the books it is possible to fly from Dragonstone to King's Landing and back within a day. Ulf takes his dragon for a joyride. It looks like the shot from Dr. Strangelove riding a nuclear bomb. Because dragons are fun, but they are weapons of mass destruction. Can Ulf be trusted with this power? Aemond and his dragon Vhagar chase Ulf and Silverwing all the way back to Dragonstone. But then he sees that Rhaenyra now has Vermithor and Sea Smoke as well. Rhaenyra now has 7 dragon riders, while Aemond and the Greens only have 2. Aegon's dragon Sunfire is dying or dead, and we've never seen Helaena ride her dragon Dreamfire. So, for the first time in a long while, Aemond looks afraid. Rhaenyra and her dragons could probably kill Aemond and Vhagar. They could win this war. So Aemond retreats. Though, at first, Vhagar disobeys his command. Vhagar wants to fight. Just like Vhagar disobeyed Aemond to kill Luke in Season 1. Can these riders control their dragons? Rhaenyra looks triumphant as her dragons roar together. In Season 1, Viserys dreamed that the dragons would roar as one, and Viserys thought this meant unity, but his children and their dragons are at war. Viserys said that dragons can't be controlled, that they are a power that brings doom. In the next episode, the season finale, Abigail Thorne plays Shirako Lohar, an eccentric admiral of the Triarchy. Abigail made an award-winning play called The Prince, and has a movie, Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend, coming September 9th to Nebula. Nebula is an independent video site owned by creators, where we can make ambitious projects without worrying about demonetization or the algorithm. Nebula has exclusive originals from Abigail Thorne and from AltSwiftX. AltSwiftX and Glidus have made videos about every episode of Hot D, and made a 22-hour-long video called The Fake Jon Snow. Viewers describe this video as an experience unlike any other, and magical, and like watching 2 frogs be boiled to death. You can watch all of these videos at nebula.tv/AltSwiftX. Using the link, you can get 40% off an annual plan. It's a great way to support AltShiftX. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and thanks to our supporters on Patreon, including Morano4, John Carter, Michael K, Shalini Aguilera, Justin Berry, Andrew Bennett, and Ari Schlossberg. Cheers.